We only have 20. We only have 20, so if we just say, if your spouse is here, if you're Muslim, just share one. Okay, you guys oh, okay. You want sitting with me? You want sitting with me? Oh, where's pencil? Where's my pencil? Right here. This? Where's your pencil? How about my students are here?
Where are your students? He left? Uh-huh.
He gave me his pencil.
You brought your students?
He
Nice.
gave me his pencil.
You've taught them well. You've taught them their adab well.
Did somebody give you a marker?
No, I'm just gonna watch the board.
Which color?
Just give me.
All of them. Like this?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. 1, 2, 3.
Did you turn it off when you put it in your no, it's working. It's not loud.
I don't even know if I turned it on or not.
It's working. It needs to be lower. Now talk.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. 1, 2, 3. Yes? Recite a salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil fajr. So go to the page where the questions actually start. Yes, there you go. Thank you. Can you get rid of the flies?
The flies? This is something projector.
Sanctions. All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I think you should turn this down a little bit. Just a little bit.
G?
Increase the percentage of font size so people can see.
Increase the font size. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Please say the salawat. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجه. Inshallah, everyone is doing well. Very nice to see the brothers and sisters again. So this is a workshop. I think we will have to cut it into half, do half of it today and inshallah half of it later on, because the moment we start with foods and drinks, everyone starts remembering their questions, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But a lot of questions come up as we're moving forward. So we'll see how much of it we can cover today. Foods and drinks is important for two reasons. Number one, sometimes you're eating something, you're drinking something, you don't know that you drinking this is actually haram, and you drink it. This is one reason why you're going to sit, or Muhammad, you're going to keep walking.
I'll stay here.
Okay. Sometimes you eat something, you drink something, and it's haram for you to eat or drink that. So this is one reason why we learn ahkam. Other reason why it's very important to learn these ahkam is a lot of times you are taught something that makes your life a bit difficult actually. For example, you're taught that you're supposed to stay away from this particular food for this or that reason. But when you actually look into the ahkam, the marja himself is saying, hey, you can have this. This is not haram for you to have sometimes, right? So learning the ahkam, especially when it comes to foods and drinks, a lot of times it makes life a lot easier than more difficult. Especially if you grew up in an Iranian household like myself, or in a Pakistani, Indian, Eastern, basically anywhere in the East. A lot of times you're taught things that aren't necessarily required, but you're taught that they are required. So when you learn these ahkam, it actually makes life a lot easier. And you learn that there are less requirements that most of us think there are in some places. Some places there are more requirements, actually. All right. So if you guys take a look at the, before the questions start, if you just go to the index, which is like the second page in your packet. So we have a number of topics here that we're going to cover. I'm going to go through all of these questions real quick so that you guys know that these are the topics that we're going to cover, so that, when questions come up, you know that we're going to be getting to this later on. Right? So we have alcohol. Are intoxicants haram to drink? Are they najis? What if it's a small percentage? What if it's in colognes, medicine, sitting at the same table, sitting at the same, being in the same gathering where others are drinking alcohol? And these types of questions we will discuss when we're discussing alcohol. Second main, do you guys have checking ingredients? Yes? Okay. Second main topic is checking ingredients. Are you supposed to check ingredients or not? Are you supposed to tell others that what they're having is haram or not? And things like that. Number 3 is grape juice, which is somewhat of a difficult issue. Is that najis, not najis? Can you have it or not? Number 4 is what animals are halal to eat. Of course, here we'll discuss the issue of seafood, what seafood you can have, what seafood you can't have, and amongst the meats, what kind of meat you can have and you can't have. Rennet. And then we come down to the topic of meats, not in terms of can you eat the animal or not, but in terms of you getting the meat from somewhere where you're not sure, is it halal or is it not halal? When you're not sure, can you take the meat? Can you not take the meat? If he's Muslim, if he's not Muslim, if he's faking it, what if he's faking it? And all of these different scenarios and questions that come up there. Then after meats, we have gelatin, which is very much related to meats because it's a meat product, or usually it is. And then the last issue is najasat being transferred to your food. So what you're having is tahir, but some other food is najis, and that transfers to your food. Questions about, what if I'm not sure, or I'm sure that my food became najis, and things like that. All right. Any questions so far? Okay, good. So we'll start, inshallah, with the topic of alcohol and intoxicants, and we will move on. Recite salawat. All right, so the first question we have is, are all intoxicants haram to drink? Are they haram to drink or not? What's your name? Ruhullah. You know what intoxicant means? Is it haram to drink an intoxicant or not? It's haram to drink all types of intoxicants. What if you have a little bit? No? You sure? It's still haram. Okay. Is he a student? He's a student. Okay. I want to see how well Wajahat has taught you. All right. So, intoxicants are haram to drink. We're 100% clear on that. There's nothing to ask about that. And the very important point to keep in mind, and the point that you guys should be writing down, is this, that it doesn't matter if you have a little bit or a lot. As long as people consider you drinking alcohol or drinking an intoxicant, what you're doing is haram. One more time, pay attention to the wording because we're going to use this later on. As long as people consider you drinking or eating alcohol. Did we get that, brother? As long as people consider you drinking or eating alcohol, then, drink or eating is going to be haram. Second question. Are all types of intoxicants najis? No. So what types are najis, what types aren't najis? And these are based on Ayatollah Khamenei's rulings and Ayatollah Sistani's rulings. Muhammad, we went through this together in the camp, right? Okay, so we can ask Muhammad then. What types of intoxicants are najis? What types of intoxicants are not najis? Bismillah.
I don't remember.
Doesn't remember. Yes. Why are you sitting over there? Come sit on the table. Chair.
Those that are originally liquid
Uh-huh.
are in the original form liquid are najis, and those that are in the original form solid
Mhm.
tahir, and even if they get wet, they're not.
Ahsantum. Okay, so there's a difference of ruling here between Ayatollah Sistani and Ayatollah Khamenei. Ayatollah Sistani says that from intoxicants, things that make you intoxicated. So I'm just going to put Ayatollah Sistani. I'm going to put the Ayatollah up here so that I don't have to write over and over it again. Ayatollah Sistani says only wine is najis and beer is najis. Other types of alcohol is not najis. Oops. Are we clear on that? So, according to Ayatollah Sistani's ruling, which is the easier ruling, alcohol is not najis. Can you drink it? No, but it's not najis. What does it mean, brother? When we say it's not najis, where does that play a role? Ahsantum. The most important thing when it comes to najasat is when it comes to salat, you want to pray. So when we say alcohol is not najis, it means if you have alcohol on your clothing and you're about to pray, you don't have to wash it off. Are we clear on that? Okay. Yes.
What other thing other than wine and beer are there? I mean, there is like liquor.
We have vodka. We have rum, tequila. I don't know, like this kind of stuff. I don't know.
There's also rice wine.
Rice wine? I don't know what rice wine is. You know why I said I don't know? Because sometimes like
Vanilla beans also.
vanilla,
Extract vanilla.
but that's alcohol. They put alcohol in there.
All this vodka and all these names of the wine
Mm.
are najis.
That's the thing.
They are fermented. I think those Worcester and so on, those whatever the chemists, they make it non. I think the difference is fermentation, the method of making wine, and all the derivation of the wines, like vodka and you name it. I don't know.
Mhm. So here's the thing. The ruling of Ayatollah Sistani is that whatever is considered as wine, right? And whatever is considered as beer, or in Arabic what they refer to as al-fuqa', these two are najis, okay? Now, if you look at the urf and you see vodka also, they also refer to vodka as a type of beer, for example. If that's the case, then vodka is also going to be najis. If that's not the case, then vodka is not going to be najis, even though it has more alcohol than higher percentage of alcohol compared to beer, for example, right? So these are not the same thing necessarily. But if you say they're the same thing, then that also becomes najis. Wine is totally different, right? It comes from grape and stuff like that, right? So we're going to put this aside, right? The question that comes up is vodka and other things like that. Would it fall under beer or not? It will fall under the category of wine. That's fine. If that's the way you see it, right, then it will be najis for you. Because the ruling is whatever people consider wine is going to be najis. Khamr, yes, yes. Not as far as I know. Not as far as I know. Not as far as I know. But at the end of the day, drinking all of them is going to be haram. Did you have a question? Yes, yes.
I have another question. So we see alcohol exist in other ingredients. I know there is like section for ingredients.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the items is mouthwash. They have
What is that?
mouthwash.
Mouthwash, yes, yes.
One of them.
Yes, yes.
And
Medications,
medication.
yes.
How about that kind of?
We'll get to that, inshallah. A couple questions later, we're going to discuss that. Okay, so this is Ayatollah Sistani's ruling. Ayatollah Khamenei is what the young brother mentioned over there. He says if it's originally liquid, it's going to be najis according to ihtiyat wajib, or obligatory precaution. Muhammad, what does obligatory precaution mean?
It means the scholars come to basically certainty to the point where they can't say it's wajib, but out of necessity that you avoid it, they say it's obligatory.
Basically, when a marja says obligatory precaution, it means he has not reached a conclusion in this regard. So you know what? He says, if you want to be safe, do ihtiyat, or refer to a marja who has reached a conclusion in this regard. So, if you're a follower of Ayatollah Khamenei, either you do ihtiyat in this particular case, or you refer to who? You refer to Ayatollah Sistani. Take my word, refer to Ayatollah Sistani. Because if you wanted to do this, life would be very difficult right here. Okay? Any questions, sisters? Yes. It could, but you just want to sit and wait until he changes his ruling? It's rare. It happens, yes, it happens. For example, Ayatollah Khamenei's ruling regarding dancing has changed. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, maybe earlier than that. But yeah, it does happen. It does happen, but it's rare. So his idea was, when it came to dancing, and it wasn't in front of the opposite gender. In front of the opposite gender, everyone says it's haram. But when it's not in front of the opposite gender, his ruling was that as long as it doesn't lead to any other haram, it's okay. Now he says men dancing is haram altogether. Yes. Women, he says, if it's just 1 or 2 of them dancing and leaving, that's fine. But if the whole majlis turns into a majlis of dancing, then it's going to be haram. So with weddings, if you have 1 or 2, 3 people come and go, that's fine. But if you have like, oh, it's her turn, now it's her turn, now it's her turn, and it just keeps going, then it's considered majlisul lahw, and it is haram. So anyways, it might change. But if you follow Ayatollah Khamenei, just refer to Ayatollah Sistani. Now this is extremely important. Why? Because if you consider the intoxicants or alcohol to be najis, if you have a drop of it in anything, it's going to make the whole thing najis. So if you have a drop of alcohol in this, whatever food or ingredient it is that you're making, it's going to make it najis. But if you say no, it's not najis, then it's going to be a different story. We're going to talk about that. Any questions? Should we move on? Yes.
Let's say that you're in a lab and you're testing with alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like in a small tube. Does that mean like making the like parts around
The tube.
not the tube itself,
Mhm.
but like the stuff that the tube is in contact with or?
Well, no, because the stuff that the tube is in contact with, what matters is what the alcohol is in contact with, right? So the alcohol is najis. If the alcohol comes into contact with something, it's going to make that najis, right? So things around it are going to be fine. All right, next question. Move on to the next question, Muhammad. Muhammad's slow. Number 3. You have to like push him every single time. If there is a very small percentage, example 2%, of an intoxicant in a medicine or food, can it be consumed? Very important question. Brothers and sisters, today in the West, a lot of the foods that we consume, they have sometimes 0.1% of alcohol, 0.2% of alcohol, right? So the question is, can we consume these or can we not? Does anyone know the answer to this question? Yes, sister. That's for making water najis. That's for making water najis. Anyone with the answer? Yes. If it's less than 2%. If it's more than 2%, you can't have it. Is that right or is that wrong? According to ISIS, so that's correct then, you're saying.
I think it's different for food and medicine.
You think it's different for food and medicine? Well, how?
Medicine is okay, but food, you can't.
So if there's medicine, it has 10% alcohol, and some medicine does have that. You can have it. If we have a scholar like Wajahat, we're going to lose everything.
I mean, no.
Any answers? Yes.
It depends, right? If consider it all nuggets, the other type of alcohol, and then it is so less that it mixes with the
Uh-huh. Ahsantum. So, according to Ayatollah Sistani, we said, whatever you do that people consider drinking or eating alcohol is haram. Okay? Now, if you have a medicine, right, it has 0.1%, not 1%, 0.1% alcohol mixed in there, and you have that, no one's going to sit there and say, hey, this guy is drinking alcohol. They won't even sit there and say he's having a little bit of alcohol. They don't say that. People don't say that, okay? So according to Ayatollah Sistani, because the alcohol is not najis, number one, and number two, what you're doing is not considered drinking or eating alcohol, it is okay, regardless of whether it's food or medicine or whatever it is, right? For example, nowadays you have sleep aids, right? Who knows what a sleep aid is? Sleep aid. NyQuil, right? Sleep aid, something that makes you fall asleep. These sleep aids, like NyQuil in particular, I think it has like 10% alcohol, if I'm not mistaken. Is that ZQuil? ZQuil, not NyQuil. ZQuil, right? It has like 10% alcohol. If you take that and you mix it with water so much that the percentage in the cup that you have goes from 10% to 0.1%, for example, right? And then you drink that, it is not going to be haram. This is where everyone's like, Majala. Yes.
Wait, so what is the like maximum amount of alcohol allowed to be in something that
It all depends on what people would consider you drinking alcohol or eating alcohol or not. Does that make sense? So if it's a percentage that people say, he's having alcohol, khalas, what you're doing is haram. But if it's less than that, then it's okay. So to answer your question, there is no particular percentage exactly that we can draw the line. It depends on what people would consider you doing. Does that make sense? Yes. Any questions from the sisters? Yes. No, go ahead.
If some food says that it was cooked in alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
right? But people don't say you're drinking alcohol at that time.
People don't say you're drinking or eating alcohol. Khalas.
If it is like wine, probably when you
No. If it's wine, wine is najis. So with wine, a drop of it is going to make your food najis, right? We're not talking about wine. We're talking about alcohol, because Ayatollah Sistani says alcohol is not najis. Is that clear? Yes, as long as people don't consider you drinking or eating alcohol, then that is not going to be haram. Now, yes?
usually the type of alcohol they put it in medication.
Yes.
Wine could be a wine or a beer or just like.
That would usually be other types of alcohol.
Do I need to ask?
No. Because the general rule is as long as you're not sure something is najis, it is tahir. Right? So, you don't know, does this have alcohol in it or not? You don't have to ask. It's tahir. It's good to ask. It's good to. You do ihtiyat. It's good to. It's mustahab. But you don't have to. Right? Okay. So, sometimes this question comes up. You say, Hajjala, if that's the case, then I can take, na'udhu billah, I can take a bottle of beer, right, and divide it into 60 different portions, and then have beer, and it's halal. Can you do that or can you not do that? No, we're not talking about najis. We're talking about alcohol. Alcohol, okay? You still can't do that, because if you do that and people see that, they say, what? He's trying to drink alcohol. So that is considered, in the eyes of people, a form of drinking alcohol. So basically, there's no way around it, except for situations like we mentioned, where it's like 0.1% in the cup. Now, this idea of adding water to the medicine that you have is particularly mentioned on the website of Ayatollah Sistani. It's a method that he has suggested himself, or the office has suggested, that if you have something has a notable amount of alcohol, if you add so much water that the percentage of alcohol is not even considered by people, then you can have that. Yes?
Adding water, you mean like we are in the medicine or we drink first?
No. In the medicine. In the medicine. You can't drink the beer and then add water on top of it. No, that's not.
And NyQuil and all the medicine
Yeah.
syrup have 10% alcohol.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
We have to put more.
You have to add the water. Yes, you can't have that. Because if it has 10% alcohol and you're drinking that, people say, hey, he's having alcohol. Yes. That's why we have these sessions this way. Yes. Mm. No, with vinegar, no, you're mixing two different things. Vinegar is halal, khalas. The 2/3 thing? No, that's what I'm saying. You're mixing grape juice with vinegar. When something turns into vinegar, people call it vinegar, it is halal. Okay? What you're talking about is grape juice. When grape juice is boiled, when it boils, it becomes haram to eat. Okay? Unless 2/3 of it goes away. Okay, that's grape juice. You're talking about vinegar. Vinegar is halal.
But they say like red wine vinegar. When they say red wine,
That's up to you to figure out. If when they say vinegar, right, is this considered vinegar by people or not? If it is, you can have it. If not, they're just calling it vinegar, but it's not really vinegar. Like when you ask people, like, no, this is not vinegar, then you can't have it, right? It all depends on what people would consider as vinegar. The same way we had a discussion here about what people would consider as beer, what people would consider as wine. A lot of these rulings have to do with the urf. Urf means what people consider something to be. Do you have to make sure that the wine turned into vinegar? Yes, you have to make sure about that. You have to make sure about that because that's something that is najis already, right? And you want to see if it became tahir or not. That you have to make sure about. You see, sometimes you don't know if something is tahir or not, right? It's not proven it was najis. You just don't know. If that's the case, it's tahir. Sometimes you know something was najis. You want to see if it became tahir or not. Something is already najis. You want to see if it became tahir or not. In that case, you have to make sure that it has become tahir. But to answer your question, when they call it vinegar like that, that means it's vinegar. You know what I mean? Like if they come to me and say, hey, this is vinegar that we're having, then that means it's vinegar. You don't have to ask, let me see if it turned into vinegar or not. Yes. I mean, it all depends on your understanding. But my understanding is that when they call this vinegar, it means it went from wine to vinegar. Mm. So we'll discuss this. What grape jelly, grape juice, grape, all of the stuff that you get from grape, do they take the grapes and boil them or not? I don't even know what pasteurized means. If you know for a fact that the grape boiled, khalas, that thing is najis. If you know for a fact, if you have a doubt, then you don't know this tahir thing, did it become najis or not? So it remains tahir. Oh, yes. It's haram to have, but not najis. Yes, you're right. Grape juice is not najis, it's haram. All right, so moving on. Next question. Brother, why don't you read question number 5? Is it question number 5 for you guys? Oh, no, I skipped it. Oh, I don't have it. 4, my bad. 4. Yeah.
if there is alcohol in
Cologne.
can I use it if I am going to
What was your name? Shah Ali? Ali? Did I go too far? Shah Ali, too far, too soon. Ali, you should be able to answer that question based on what we explained already. If I'm going to use cologne and the cologne has alcohol, by the way, I haven't heard of a cologne that doesn't have alcohol. You're going to use this cologne, it has alcohol. Can you use it on your shirt when you're going to pray or not? Yes? According to both maraji'? Okay, but according to Ayatollah Sistani, yes, because he said alcohol is not najis. According to Ayatollah Khamenei, no. Right? Obligatory precaution. So yes. You can refer to Ayatollah Sistani. What is that? No, it doesn't matter. Alcohol is tahir. You can't eat it or drink it, but if you want to put it on your clothes, it's not a problem. All right, next question. Is it permissible for me to sit at a table where alcohol is being consumed? It's not allowed. Well, there are some details here, but just to be on the safe side, it's not allowed. Okay, it's a longer discussion. Next question. Read the question. Who's going to read the question for us? Yes. Sure. At work. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm. It's not at your table. Right? And by a table, by the way, we're not only, specifically referring to the object, right? It's sort of like the gathering / table. So if you're sitting all the way on one side of the table and there are another group of guests or customers, right, all the way on the other side, you have nothing to do with them. They're having alcohol all the way on the other side. They're not serving alcohol at your table. You know what I mean? So the table is not, we're not talking about the object itself. We mean like where you're having your food, basically. If they're consuming alcohol there, you can't sit there. But if they're doing it all the way on the other side, then that's not a problem. Yes.
There's like a large table, like a sushi bar,
Mm.
table. There are stools and stuff.
Mm.
They're sitting on one end.
Don't go to the bar. Okay, moving. Yeah, it's going to be okay. Because you're not, at the end of the day, where you're having your food, or in other words, in your vicinity, or whatever you want to call it, it's not being served there, right? If someone walks in, they're not like, oh, so this is alcohol for you guys. They don't say this is alcohol for some other person, right? It's not. But, for example, when you go to the airports, for example, if you're sitting at one table, and at airports, people will just come sit right beside you, right? And it's one table, and the guy sits right beside you, right? People consider that to be the same table and in your vicinity. So that would be haram. It all depends on whether people consider it as the same table or not. Is that clear? Yes? Okay. Is it permissible to eat at a table where alcohol is being consumed? No, it's not. Is it permissible? Question number 6. We just went through 6.
Well, this said 6. This one says.
I just read through 6, Habibi.
No, you just said, is it for me to sit? This says,
One of them is sitting, one of them is eating. I just mentioned they're both haram. Number 7. Number.
You can stand and eat.
Sure.
So, in a business setup, when you go out, you eat for lunch or something, for example,
Yeah.
how is that different from somebody consuming meat that is not allowed, let's say, alcohol that is not allowed? Why there is a difference between the two?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question. What was
The question is, let's say I'm going to a lunch,
it? Yes. With coworkers.
and he's having pork,
He's having pork, yes.
and you're having fish.
Mm-hmm.
You have fish.
Mm-hmm.
How is that different from somebody who's consuming alcohol?
Oh, you're saying like how come when it comes to someone who's consuming alcohol, you can't sit beside him on the same table, but when it comes to meat, then that's not an issue.
And what I'm putting in my body is really my body, right?
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day, I'm accountable for myself, right?
Yeah.
So can you clarify that? Because you said
Sure.
people kind of walk out on a business meeting that you have.
Well, we'll talk about business meetings in just a second, because the next question is attending a gathering where alcohol is being consumed, which the whole idea of work teams, getting together and getting to know each other and all that stuff, we'll talk about that in just a second. But the idea of why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, hey, I know you're not going to drink the alcohol, but I don't even want you to sit at the table, is just a preventive method. Why has He done it only for alcohol and not for meat? Maybe alcohol is more tempting. And I think it is. Alcohol, if you look at our society today, If you're troubled and you're challenged and you have serious issues that you're dealing with in your life, what do you run to? Do you run to like McDonald's? No. What do you run to? You run to the alcohol, right? So it's a lot more tempting. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when it comes to alcohol, hey, I don't even want you to be around this thing. That's what comes to my mind, of course, right? So that's it. All right, so now we're going to discuss the second question that you had. Is it permissible to attend a gathering where alcohol is being consumed? Ayat al-Sistan and Ayat al-Khamni, both of them say that you cannot attend such a gathering. A gathering is bigger than a table. We're not talking about a table. We're talking about a party, for example, right? You walk in there, there's a party, everyone is part of this one party, someone is having alcohol over there. You cannot be part of that party or gathering. Now, the question that comes up is what? Is work. Work is just like any other excuse that we use with other ahkam. For example, you have to pray standing up, right? You can't. If I pray standing up, it's going to cause me pain. What do they say? They say pray sitting down until you can stand up. Same thing with work. If not going to that meeting is going to cause a serious issue for you, you go. And there's no problem in it. But then the moment where you feel like, hey, me being here is not necessary, then you leave, right? So as much as you have to take care of your well-being and your living and all of that, you take care of that. The moment it's not necessary for you to be there, then you have to leave that situation or that gathering. Any questions? Okay. What's the next question?
Is it permissible to shop from stores that sell alcohol?
Is it permissible to shop from stores that sell alcohol? See? Very good, yes. Of course it is, right? Otherwise you won't be able to buy anything here.
Permissible, sorry.
Yeah, right? It's permissible, right? Yes. Okay. Next question. Okay, checking ingredients. So, are we done with alcohol? No one has any more questions regarding alcohol or yes?
As for the store, so for example, like there are stores that many aisles.
Yes.
So like even passing by that aisle or going there is a problem? Because
I said you can shop from them. It's not a problem. Oh, you mean like going to their aisles?
yeah, going past
No,
the
it's
aisle.
not. Just don't pick up a, don't pick up a six-pack or anything like that. All right, checking ingredients. So, Muhammad, why don't you read the question?
Is it obligatory to check the ingredients of foods to see if they contain haram?
Is it wajib or is it not wajib? No?
In this country, yes.
In this country, yes. So it's not wajib, but it's good. It's always good to do ihtiyats, right? Always good to do ihtiyats. Next question. Question number 10. Is it obligatory to inform others that their food contains haram ingredients? You go to the restaurant, right? And you're having your food, and your friend, not knowing that, this food has haram in it, has meat in it, for example, he orders, I don't know, chicken soup or something like that, right? Do you have to tell him that what you're having is haram or not? Yes or no? Okay. So, sisters are all saying no, brothers are all saying yes. So the answer is you don't have to unless you played a role in him eating that food. So what does that mean? Sometimes you're the one that's ordering. And if you don't order, the food is not going to end up in his stomach. You have to tell him, hey, what I ordered, I made a mistake. Don't eat that. Okay? But if he's ordering it himself, he's having it himself, it's not wajib to tell him. Still good to tell him sometimes. Sometimes it's good to tell him, but it's not wajib for us to tell him. Amr bil ma'ruf doesn't apply here. Who can answer this question? It's a good question. We're saying that if my friend is having something that is haram, right? Amr bil ma'ruf doesn't apply here. Is that true or is that not true? Well, I know what I'm telling him is the right thing because I know that he is having meat. No. So you got my hopes up for once, but he was wrong. Ahsantum. Amr bil ma'ruf comes into play when this person knows he's doing haram. Okay? but he doesn't even know what he's eating is haram. So in his eyes, he's not sinning. He's not doing haram. So Amr Ma'ruf doesn't come into play here. Amr Ma'ruf means I know I'm doing haram. You have to come and tell me to stop doing haram. Is that clear? So Amr Ma'ruf doesn't apply here. Yes?
Let's say that you are having dinner with your friends and you're not like telling anybody like you should have the chicken soup, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just telling you order the chicken soup for me because you were going to order.
Yeah.
So would that mean that it's wajib upon you to tell him or?
You can't order for him, right? If he tells you, hey, you're going to order, get me the chicken soup, you tell him I can't do that because chicken soup has haram in it. Right? Because if you order and he has that food, you played a role in him eating that food, which would make it haram. Does that make sense? So you can't play a role. If he insists, hey, order for me, you say, I can't order, it has haram in it. Yes, Wajah?
What if it's a non-Muslim?
Oh, a non-Muslim, it gets a bit, with Ayat al-Sistani, there are some details as to whether you can give them haram meat or not. From what I remember, when it comes to pork, you cannot. But when it comes to other meats, from what I remember, it's okay. Ayat al-Khamenei says you can't do any of that. So that's that. And that comes up a lot. Like I remember you asked one time when like your boss asks you to go and get like sandwiches for them, for example. I mean, I don't know what you're doing at work that your boss is asking that type of thing of you.
That's not the question.
But that's not the question, so we're gonna move on. It's like, yeah, like you're just chilling at work. They're like, okay, get some food sandwiches. But anyways, sandwich guy. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna take haram pork and you're gonna give it to them, that's definitely Ayat al-Sistani and Ayat al-Khamenei, that's gonna be haram. Other haram meats, I don't remember exactly. I think Ayat al-Sistani allows it, but I don't remember exactly.
Sorry, hold on. This follows the brother Rajan's sorry.
Yes.
Question. So sometimes with client meetings, you have to pay for the client's food and take it off. Like they order something.
Yeah.
So does that classify as the business is paying for it and you're not doing it?
What do people consider?
Business is paying.
Business. Yeah.
Business is paying for it. Yeah. So it all depends on what they would consider who's paying for this money, right? If they consider the business paying for it, then that's not a problem. You're just in the middle. You're just like, that's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yes. But if they say, hey, can you get us some sandwiches? And you're like, I'm going to treat you to some sandwiches. Then they say, hey, you're paying, and that's going to be problematic. Yes. Free roasted chicken. Come back to me after the session because I have that file in my my tablet about situations when it comes to giving meat to others. It's very detailed. Some situations you can, some situations you can't. With Ayat al-Khamenei, he says you can't do any of that. But with Ayat al-Sistani, there are some situations that he allows it, some situations he doesn't. So I'll have to look it up exactly. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. You have to tell him. Yes. Mm-hmm. So if someone doesn't know the ruling, you have to tell them about the ruling, right? But if someone knows about the ruling, they know meat is haram, like, that's not slaughtered correctly is haram. They just don't know that in this food, there is meat. You don't have to tell them, hey, the food you're having has meat in it, and therefore it is haram. Yes, if someone doesn't know the ruling, then you have to tell them the ruling. This is one of those rulings that really makes life difficult. As long as you don't know, you're fine. But if you do come to the conclusion that he really doesn't know the ruling, and by the way, this isn't like for it's not for an alim only, it's for all of you guys. If you know someone doesn't know the ruling and you're sure about it, you have an obligation. It's wajib for you to go and tell that person the ruling, which makes life Muslims. You tell a non-Muslim, he's not going to care. So. All right. Next topic we have is grape juice. Read the question, Muhammad.
Number 11. Is it haram to drink grape juice or eat grapes that come to boil?
Is it haram to drink grape juice or have grapes that come to boil? Yes, it is haram. So, any grape juice, grape gelatin, grape jelly, grape, anything like that you have that they took grapes and it came to boiling, then it is haram to have that product. If you are sure about that. A lot of times you can't be sure about that. Is that clear?
Can you clarify that? So, for example, grape juice and grape jelly is
If you are sure that they took grapes and it came to boiling.
I'm talking about a commercial, like you go to HEB and buy.
Are you sure? You're not sure. Like when you pick up HEB Organics strawberry jelly or whatever, jam. Are you sure that they had grapes boiled in there or no? Khalas, you have it. You don't have to ask or you don't have to check anything. You don't have to do any of that. But if you're sure that they had grapes boiled, then this thing is going to be haram to drink unless 2/3 of it evaporates. But you don't know how they make the grape juice or the boiling, right? So you can never be sure that 2/3 of it evaporated, right? So therefore, in this country, if grape juice or grapes or grape juice is boiled, it is haram to eat. Yes.
Yeah, my follow-up question, are there any products from IABA-Austin haram and a lot of people don't know about it?
I don't know of any.
If you did, you would
I don't know of any.
So, like, for example, like somebody finds out like this grape juice for sure was boiled. Do they
Yes.
just let the whole community know?
No, they don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. In some situations, it's not good to do that because it makes lives difficult, right? And then these are things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like I said in the beginning of the topic, sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't require something for us. Well, He doesn't require it, then, just relax, And then there are situations where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires a lot from us. And we're not, we don't do those things, right? So we want to make sure we are strict when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is strict and lenient when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is lenient. Yes.
I just want to jump back, quick question on alcohol on an airplane.
Yes. Do people consider that your table or in your vicinity? And no. It all depends on whether people consider it as, within your vicinity and at your table. And the reason why I'm using so many different words is because we don't have a particular equivalence for the Arabic that's used, which is ma'idah. We don't have an equivalent for it, so that's why I keep saying vicinity or table or whatever. All right. Yes, is it haram to eat raisins or date that has been boiled? Right? So one of the foods that we make, Iranians make, I forgot the name. Yeah, I moved a month ago. I forgot my Iranian roots. No, it's like this thing that we have raisins in. It's like adas polo or something like that. I don't remember. No, adas polo. Adas polo. Anyways, so it's like lentils with rice, and in it they put raisins. But they have the raisins semi-boiled before they put them in the rice. So the point is, dates and raisins, if they boil, then it's not an issue. This is Ayat al-Sistani and Ayat al-Khamni's ruling. It's only grapes that's going to be a problem. All right, next question. What animals are halal to eat? Muhammad, read the question.
What is the ruling on consuming the meat of horses, donkeys, and mules?
I just put that in there. What is it? Haram. It's makruh. It's makruh. Yeah, it's makruh. I mean, you're not going to have oh, there's monkeys in there? No, I'm sorry. This was supposed to be mules, not monkeys. Monkeys is haram. I'm sorry. I don't even know why that's in there. I don't have to. All right. Next question. Seafood. What seafood is permissible to consume when you go to Red Lobster? What can you have there? Huh? Snapper and salmon and fish. All types of fish or What type of fish? Scale fish. So fish that has scale and shrimp. Can you have squid, Allah? No. Can you have, I forgot the names, like all these weird things that look like a bigger shrimp. Lobster, you can't have it. Crab, you can't have it. All these things. Crawfish, you can't have it. I don't know what clam is, but you can't have it. Because anything that's not shrimp and fish with scales, you cannot have that. All right, next question. Is it permissible to consume fish that have microscopic scales? So every now and then, right, like you have that one guy in the community who goes and does research about this stuff, you know? And then like he picks up the mic after salat without anyone's permission, and he's like, you know what, I did some research, and like this fish has microscopic scales on it. Just newly research done, microscopic research. So anyways, I didn't find Ayatollah Khamenei's ruling on this, but Ayatollah Sistani, he doesn't allow it. So the scales that we're talking about are scales that you should be able to see, not microscopic. Or
And if you're not sure,
if you're not sure, that's a good question. I think we have it in there. Yeah, we have that. We'll move on to that. All right, next question. What is the ruling on shrimp? Oh, you can have shrimp, but squid and like all the other stuff, you can't have it. That's clear. You have a question? Yes.
Anchovies, is it type of fish or specific?
Anchovies?
Anchovies?
I don't know what they are.
Small fish. Small fish.
No, I don't know.
Scale? No. They have.
I don't know. All right. What's the next question? What's the ruling on fish eggs? This is something that's actually very common in some countries where they have, like the eggs that, yes, caviar, yes. Very expensive, very expensive. So what's the ruling on it? So the ruling on the eggs is the same ruling as the fish. Whatever you can have the eggs. Whatever you can't have the eggs either. I don't know, like caviar, I don't know. Does it have scales? It does? Okay. I don't know. I don't think it does. All right. What is the ruling on crab, lobster, crayfish, squid? We already went through this. These are all going to be haram. Yes. Sayyid Muhammad al-Fadlullah? Oh, really? What is that? Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, allowed, makruh is allowed, habibi. Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, it's allowed to get. All right. Can I purchase fish from non-Muslims not knowing if... Oh, I'm sorry. The next question is, can I consume fish that I am not sure whether it has scales or not? No? You cannot consume it. So as long as you're not sure. This is Ayatollah Sistani's ruling. Ayatollah Khamenei says you can. Yes, Ayatollah Khamenei says you can. Ayatollah Sistani says no. So when you... No.
If you get fish from Muslim,
No, this has nothing to do with Muslim or non-Muslim right now. Is that clear? We're talking about there's a fish. Let's say you got it from a Muslim, Aslan, right? You got it from a Muslim. You got it from a Muslim. You don't know, does caviar or whatever the other fish was that they named, snapper, whatever. I don't know, does this have scales or does it not have scales? Can I have it or can I not have it? I don't know. All seafood? I heard one of my friends, yeah, he said he used to be Salafi. He said they eat all of it. Do they, Allah? You don't know?
they don't make a distinction. I think they don't.
Okay. But other than that, all fish.
If they offer food made of fish,
You can have it from them. If the person gives you food and he's Muslim and he is claiming that this is halal, I think you can have it. But if he's...
we know that they don't care about this.
if they don't care if it's has scales or not, then I think that's going to be a problem. Like you have to make sure about it. Yes. Yes.
So I have friends who shoot, right?
Yes.
They catch catfish.
Yes.
If you're invited at their dinner and they serve catfish, can you have it?
I don't think catfish has scales or.
No, no, I'm just saying as it does not have scales, right? So that's
Yeah.
not. But if
Yeah.
you're invited to a Muslim, you
Yeah.
cannot have that.
No, no,
Okay.
no. The whole idea of Muslim, like the idea of a person being Muslim, only helps when you don't know about the food. That's in some situations the guy being Muslim is gonna help, right? But when you know what he's offering you is haram based on your own religion, then your own school of thought, then that's it. Whether he's Muslim, he's God, doesn't matter. You can't have it, right? You get my points. Right? All right. So we went through this question as well. All right. Let's do rennet. When do we start?
8:15.
Okay. So I think we'll go through this and we'll leave the rest for the next time. Because the meats, once we go into meats, that's going to be like a whole another headache, inshallah. But all right. So rennet, is it permissible to consume products that contain rennet, such as certain cheeses? What is rennet? Very good question. Who knows what rennet is? Yes.
I don't know the scientific explanation, but I think it's kind of like some kind of enzyme thing that goes into it. But usually, if we classify that into animal rennet versus, like it'll specifically say animal rennet, so that's why
That's practically what it is. Okay, this is a sheep or a cow or whatever based on your interpretation. Okay? Inside the stomach of this cow or sheep or whatever, there are enzymes. These enzymes help when it comes to like digesting food and stuff like that. These enzymes are taken out, they are extracted, and we call them rennet, and they help when it comes to cheese developing and stuff like that. So this is what we're talking about when we talk about rennet. I know it sounds kind of like thing, but it actually tastes very good when you have it. So, and it is there in some products, okay? So the ruling regarding rennet is actually a pretty, it depends on a number of things. But to be on the safe side, what we can say for sure is as long as you're not sure what you are having in particular, as long as you're not sure it has rennet, then that's not going to be a problem. But if you are sure, just stay away from it. There are details because rennet is not, it's taken from different parts of the body actually. Okay? So it depends. But to be on, just if I wanted to give you a very basic answer, if you're sure that this is rennet and it's animal rennet, stay away from it. If you have a doubt, you don't know if it has rennet in it or not, then you can go ahead and have it. There can be? I don't know. So again, that goes back to when you know that there is synthetic rennet, right? Is that what you said, synthetic? Yeah, okay. Microbial rennet, okay? As long as you're not sure this is taken from the animal, then you can have it. Yeah, I mean, when they say microbes, unless, like, here's the thing. Unless you've done research and you know all about the industry, you're really not sure where they're getting this from. Khalas, you can have it. But if you have a headache and you have too much time on your hand and you go and you do all these research and you find out how they make it and where it's coming from, then you can't have it if it's coming from the animal. Yeah. So ulama have different opinions actually about this. Some of the ulama say when you're having something and you don't know if it has something, or like you think that there is nothing haram with it, or you have a doubt, but then it turns out later that in fact it was najis or haram for you to eat that thing. They say, some of them say it does have an effect on you. Some of them say it doesn't have an effect on you. So it's a difference of opinion. But I always explain this in our courses, that if someone really wants to take precautions regarding this issue of foods, there are so many other things that you have to take precaution regarding, especially living in this country, right? Because practically anything that you eat in this country can have either alcohol in it, either grape that's boiled in it. It can have any of these things, really. It can have gelatin in it. So, I mean, it's good if you want to do ihtiyat. There's no problem with that. But don't expect everyone to follow in your footsteps, because if you really wanted to do proper ihtiyat, you would have to stay away from so many things. And to just broaden your horizon a little bit, it's not just food. Like, for example, the money that you're getting. The money that you're getting from your company. So your company, because they're not a Muslim company and they don't make money based on our rulings, right? Some of their income might be haram. Maybe they're charging interest from someone. Maybe that money that they charge interest ends up to be your share, right, of your salary, right? So what are you going to do about that? You're going to do ihtiyat? I don't think so. So my point is, there's so many things that you would have to do ihtiyat regarding. The spiritual effect isn't that much of a big deal. We do things when we are completely aware that they are haram, and we do them. That's spiritual damage right there. And this stuff is, it's good. If you can, stay away from it. If not, then not. All right. So we'll leave the rest, inshallah, for the next session. If anyone has questions or comments or anything like that, I can. What was that? No, they can ask right now. But I mean, unless they want to go through it. Or should we leave it? We should leave it? Okay. Because meat is going to have another whole thing. All right. Thank you very much. Recite salawat. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجه